What is happening, friends, family, astute RLT community? YouTube, Zoom says confirm my language. Am I that bad on
English.
speaking? I'm pretty bad on speaking, I guess. Yeah, confirm. They don't even know. They can't translate it.
It's that
But
Pennsylvanian.
that's the Pennsylvania thing. I appreciate all you guys joining us. I'm obviously here with Stephen King, Johnny Guarco. But man, we got a
What's
lot of
up,
you guys piling into the
everyone?
room already. What's going on,
Welcome.
gentlemen?
What is happening?
Ivo's here.
By the
Welcome,
way, at the
Ivo.
very end of this, Steven's going to be grabbing that guitar and playing a song for everybody. So, if you make it all the way to the end, whether you like it or not, you get that special bonus, which is
I was gonna
nice.
say, doesn't my background look real?
It does. That's well played. Well played.
Where's
Uh,
my beach background? I lost that.
the beach one?
Yeah, I
Just
don't know
open your
what
window.
happened to that. You stole it.
That's the no. I changed it back. Now I found the library again. Found the library, but yeah, what's happening? So a lot of you guys. Kevin says Dan has been doing some reading. They're all dusty. Every single one of those books behind me really dusty. So, but we want to get together. We want to do this live meeting just to number one give back to the community, but also kind of go through us just trading day in day out. We have different trading styles, different setups, different mindsets. We want to kind of cover our trading experience, what got us into this game, being in the markets, being involved in the markets, what it's done for our lives, and then just try to go through our setups and also the mindset of what we've picked up over the years. Because I know we have a lot of people on here. Some of you guys are already solid traders and good to go, and that's awesome. And a lot of you guys are uh, girls and guys are maybe new to the markets, or some people maybe live on YouTube that brand new to the markets and just not really sure where to go or if this is something that you guys want to take the journey on and be able to trade. So we'll go through. I wish I could say everything is rosy and beautiful in trading, and the journey is just the easiest thing you guys ever done. But there is hiccups. There is some pure hiccups to trading, and just some stuff that I know I had to get over, and I'm sure we've been on retreats together. We've talked together. Stuff that you guys have kind of had to conquer and kind of come through as well. So the chat's open, whether it's on YouTube. I see Franco in YouTube land. Good morning or good afternoon, or
Franco.
depends on who you are. But yeah, you got Franco on there too. I know he's like a world traveler, so I'm not even sure where he's at. Mexico, Canada, maybe he's back in Canada. Not sure, but yeah, we'll start with let's introduce Stephen King to you guys. Stephen, if you want to just let us know a little bit about yourself, how you got started trading, and
Sure thing. Happy to. Real quick though, Dan, did you post the YouTube link in the chat?
no, no, I'll do that as you're
Okay.
talking.
If you want to do that, because I'll pull it up here as well. Keep an eye on it. So yeah, so there's a lot of people, a lot of names here I recognize. People who already know my background, my story. But for those of you who don't, Stephen King. I'm actually the president of Real Life Trading. Took over this position back in January, and working with these guys is nothing. There's nothing better, right? We have a great team. So my background, um, I I followed the traditional route. I guess I'm going to give you the condensed version. So out of college, ended up in the corporate world. Did that for about 12 years. Never wanted to be working for somebody else. Never wanted to be corporate. Ended up then after 12 years in corporate, going out on my own. I started my own business, and I had that for about 20 years. Did really well until it didn't. And then when it didn't, it was the financial crisis, I guess, of what was that, 2010, that really started the downfall of my business. At the time, I was importing high-end luxury Italian cabinets into the US. And that market dried up real quick after the financial crisis, right? So before that, money was free. People were willing to, put in, these crazy elaborate kitchens in homes that had, no business having them, right? But money was free. So they were doing it until it wasn't free. And then, things came tumbling down. I ended up, so I had two physical locations. They were kitchen design firms. Then I had my own general contracting firm as well. So long story short, 2015, all that gets shut down. I am now in my 50s. I've been out of the corporate world for 20 years at that point. I'm guessing something like that. But bottom line is 50 years old, not having been in the corporate world for quite a number of years, couple of decades, you're just not marketable anymore. Nobody's hiring somebody my age at that time to, you know, and when I left the corporate world, I was a vice president of a company up in Boston. Nobody's going to hire somebody at that point, right? So I was not marketable. I was not hireable. So I had to look within and go, okay, I have to reinvent myself. What am I going to do? And that's when I discovered trading. And I wasn't member number one with Jeremy. I think that may have been Johnny Guarco, but
You guys were around the same time though.
we were very close,
Very
within maybe
close,
6 months,
Yeah.
I'm going to say. But Johnny was with Jeremy even before Jeremy started real life trading. But anyway, I discovered real life trading. It must have been about 6 months after Jeremy started the business. Got in on the ground floor. Jeremy was my mentor. Worked with him directly, learned how to trade. So I started out as a member of real life trading. And then over the years, as things evolved, I started doing then some work within inside real life trading. And then eventually, like I said, back in January, I took over as the president. But the trading journey itself was, you know, started 2015. I was one of those people. It took me some time to get it right. It was, you know, my learning curve was probably not as smooth as Dan and Johnny's, but you know, but again, everyone learns at their own pace and in their own way. And so, you know, took me a while, but eventually, you know, I got it. Finding Jeremy certainly helped. That was a huge step in the right direction. And you know, and I've talked about how real life trading has literally changed my life, and it has. And then you know, and then eventually becoming consistently profitable, which is something everyone strives for. And you know, and now here I am. And so I'm honored to be with these two guys and the rest of the real life trading team, and you know, enjoy working with I specialize in working with new traders, helping people actually get up and running and learning how to trade, because I remember all the pitfalls, all the things that I did wrong, all the mistakes I made. And so if I can help somebody else avoid those pitfalls and those mistakes, then that's my goal.
And what would you say? Because I know I love hearing all the stories about you guys and all that stuff. Unfortunately, only Corey really cares about us, like as individual people and our stories. But I think the direction of what I think most people would really relate to, and I'd be appreciative if you share it with us. What has the markets done for you specifically? What is something that you were able to achieve that you probably would not have been able to achieve without trading, without learning the markets?
Ultimately, it's freedom, right? So it's financial freedom, it's time freedom. I have not I, we, my wife and I, we have a home up in Canada where we spend our summers, to be able to have the freedom to go, and I can work from there. I can trade from there, going on vacations, right? Being able to just go on a vacation and, you know, with a laptop, that's all I need, right? I can trade from there. I can work from there. And, David, to answer your question, how long did it take for me to become consistently profitable? I'd say if I met Jeremy in 2015 and Jeremy, you know, really turned my trading around, I would say that by 2016, I was pretty proficient in my trading. And then maybe it took another year and a half to become consistently profitable. So I'm thinking probably by, you know, 2018, so maybe 3 years in, to guess. But you know, but a lot of that was learning how to become consistently profitable, right? And a lot of that was self-learned. So what I do now is you know, these two that, you know, I'm with here, these are the masters with teaching people how to become consistently profitable. I'm the one who will get you up and running. And there, I could teach you how to be consistently profitable, but these guys are the masters there. And I'm just the one to, help people get started, teach them how to trade. I have a process that I've created that I'll talk about a little bit later after these guys do their intro. We're all going to talk about how we approach working with people and teaching. So, but yeah, I'd say maybe 3 years it took me to become consistently profitable.
Awesome. I appreciate
That's
that.
because you're a
Pleasure.
superstar.
Yeah, a little too humble. A little too
Yeah,
humble.
I know. When
Uh,
is King humble? This is new.
let's introduce the guy who needs no virtual background. He could just open his windows and you just see beautiful beaches behind him. Johnny Guaro, tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of your journey.
All right. Aloha, everybody. Johnny Guarco. If you can't tell or don't know, Johnny is from Hawaii. I've been in Hawaii for about 40 years plus and just love it here. It's definitely the life that I've always dreamed about, and not only because of the environment, but now I'm living the life that I always wanted because of trading and really because of Jeremy Alexander Newsom. If it wasn't for that guy, we all wouldn't be here. So all the props go out to Jeremy. Um, I was born on Long Island, moved to Maryland, grew up as a kid in Bethesda, Maryland, was a jock all my life, was supposed to play baseball at University of Oklahoma. I got hurt, but I really liked Oklahoma. It was during the time, I don't think Danny was born yet, Stephen, but remember Urban Cowboy
Oh, absolutely.
came out? I think Danny was in diapers, maybe. That's what he was.
I'm still in diapers.
You are? No, man,
Yeah.
that's where I'm going. I'm closer to that than
Gonna buy
you.
some stock in Depends.
Anyway, I went out University of Oklahoma. I loved it out there, Sooner born, and decided afterwards I was trying to get into government work. My father was World War II vet, landed Normandy Beach, brings back a lot of emotions during that time, but I always wanted to be, a government worker like him. And that's what I was trying to get into. When I graduated with a business degree, though, there wasn't really anything for me to offer as far as government work is concerned. So what did I do? I joined the United States Marine Corps, went to school for about a year in Virginia and then down to North Carolina in Marine Corps schools. And then I was lucky enough to get stationed out in Hawaii. Go figure. Young second lieutenant, single, living in Waikiki Beach. So I won't go into the details there, but just use your imagination. And I ran amok. And anyway, real long story. I got married. That didn't work. I never got into the government work because there was hiring freezes. So what happened was I left the Marine Corps on active duty, but stayed in Hawaii. And I started a couple of businesses, was pretty successful there. And I went into the reserves. So I became a force reconnaissance officer in the Marine Corps. And then, long story short, a lot of details in between that probably will bore you to death, but 9/11 happened. And 9/11 happened, and it changed probably a lot of people's lives in this room, including mine. I got called up on active duty. I got mobilized, so I'm back on active duty supporting Operation Enduring Freedom and the war on terrorism. Specifically, I was still in Hawaii, and I was mobilized to the commander here in Hawaii for his staff. And I was working terrorism issues, counterterrorism issues. And I traveled all over Southeast Asia because not known to a lot of people, but there's a lot of terrorist organizations in this part of the world. And I was specifically working that. I met my wife in the Philippines. She was working, oddly enough, for the Armed Forces of the Philippines. And just because of my work there in supporting our operations, I was working with her office and we met. And now we're married and she's living here in Hawaii with me. And we have 2 kids together, 5 for Johnny total. I won't go into those details, but anyway, everything is great. We're loving life. So she came here specifically, besides because of me, but she wanted to get her master's degree. She already had a business degree, so she wanted to come to University of Hawaii and get her master's degree. Long story short, again, she got an MBA, and during that course, they studied about the stock market, about trading stocks, commodities, etc. And she heard from a friend of hers, and this friend was taking classes at this different company, learning how to trade stocks. So my wife checked it out, got involved, and she said, "Johnny, you should check this out." And I'm like, "Babe, this old dog ain't learning any new tricks." So I was never a great student. I really didn't like school, didn't like reading, didn't like really learning things. I'm the guy who learns through the school of hard knocks. That's the best way that I learn, not through a video or through a school book. But anyway, she bugged me long enough and I said, all right, I'll take these classes. I'll give it a month's time because at that time there was a course that had a month's worth of classes. I said, I'll look at these videos, I'll check it out, and then we'll talk. Well, what happened was I just became enamored with this guy named Jeremy Alexander Newsom. And I was like, wow, this is maybe what I've been looking for. Because from the time that I left the Marine Corps, when I started my own businesses, I always heard that the way to get into business is something that doesn't have a lot of inventory, doesn't have a lot of employees. You can sell your product, whatever that may be, worldwide, have worldwide access, low overhead, et cetera, et cetera. And when I started thinking about this, because I have big dreams, and we're going to talk about dreams in a little while, but I was thinking, my businesses that I owned are okay because they created extra cash flow. But to achieve my dreams, I hadn't found anything besides what I thought trading could possibly do. And it met all that criteria of what a great business it would be. So, and then Jeremy. I mean, who meets Jeremy and doesn't love that guy? At that time, I think it was like 2012. He was still with a different stock education company. I think he was like 23 or something, guys. I can't remember that. I still have pictures of him. He looks like he was in high school. Anyway, he kids around and says Johnny was his first coaching student, and I think I was. But man, I just grabbed hold of that guy and said, this guy is going somewhere, and I'm going to hang on to his coattails and go on for the ride. I just love the guy. I love being with him and associating with him, which I still obviously do. But one day he said, Johnny, man, he tried to buy into leadership position in this other company and they just blew him off crazy enough. And he said, good enough for me, man. I'm going to go start my own company and you're going to come with me and help start it. And he started up Real Life Trading and I was by his side helping him out the entire way. And what a decision. It was like, I think back at it now and I'm like, what if I was just closed-minded and thought, negatively, like, Johnny, you can't make money in the stock market. Nobody makes money in the stock market. It's a scam. You're going to lose all your money. What if I thought that? And if you guys could think about, what your life is and what you're looking for, and then find the vehicle to get you there, that's what nirvana, I think, is having that vehicle to take you to the places that you want to go. So anyway, Jeremy started Real Life Trading, and then I don't know, Danny, when was it? About 3 years ago, 4 years ago, he had a contest. When was that?
4 years ago, COVID.
About 4 years ago. One day, he posted, "Okay, guys, I'm going to have a contest for moderators for day trading room. And I'm going to have you guys get on the mic and show me your wares. And I'm going to pick a couple of people and they're going to run the day trading room for me." So, I was, I really, believe it or not, I'm an introvert. I don't like being in public and talking in public. And, I was like, nah, I'm not going to do that. And then about a week later, Jeremy sends me a note and he goes, "Man, I didn't see your entry, your registration to be a moderator. Did something happen and you mess up the registration?" I'm like, "No, I'm just not doing it, man. I'm not going to do moderating for a live day trading room. You kidding me?" And then he gave me the takeaway. He's like, "Okay, I guess somebody else has a bigger dream than you." And then that's all it took. I was like, when Jeremy tells you something like that, he'll never tell you like directly to your face. He'll throw like a fastball right at your face. And I was like, "Okay, all right, I got it. I'll do it." And I was just agreeing because I knew no way in hell that I was gonna win that competition. It's guys like Danny J, right? With man, that gift that he has to verbally articulate things. I was like, "Okay, no problem. There's a couple other guys. I know they're going to win. I'm not going to win." Long story short, Johnny won somehow, and I became a moderator and a coach and a mentor at Real Life Trading at that time. So I started coaching and helping people because of my just who I am and the way I learn. I know a lot of people are like me, the people that have photographic memories and are great students, they don't need me. So I decided, find a niche, and what better niche to help beginner traders, and especially those have given so much back to their country, i.e., our military and first responders. And I started focusing in on helping those folks. Today, because we have great staff and we have to fill certain niches, and because I have now, I don't know, what is it? I think 12 years of trading with Jeremy. And by the way, Jeremy didn't have Jeremy, and Johnny didn't have really an experienced Jeremy like you guys have available today. So when you ask one of us how long it took to be profitable, Stephen is a superstar. I think Jeremy back then took 4+ years to become consistently profitable. I took 5+ years to become consistently profitable. But so I'm here today because I have 12 years of, like what Stephen said, 12 years of hitting a lot of pits and speed bumps and hard knocks. And what I want to do, Stephen wants to do, Danny wants to do, is share that with you guys, because we don't want you to take 5 years or 4 years or 3 years. We want to tell you guys what we are doing now, what our experiences are, to help you through that quagmire of speed bumps that you're going to run into. So that's kind of my story. Stephen is the expert at helping those beginners who, sign up for that beginner course and say, "Okay, I'm going to learn how to trade the stock market." Danny and I specialize in taking those people that already got all the information from Stephen as far as technical analysis and the things to do to build a business, or to be able to be able to use technical analysis to trade the stock market. But then once you have those skills, and that is the one critical skill, is learning technical analysis. Once you have those skills, there's certain things that it's going to take to become a consistent, profitable trader. And that's what me and Danny J specialize at, and that's what we want to help you guys with. That's my story. Hope you guys are going to stick around with us. We want you on the team, and I'm going to turn it over to Danny J.
That was short and sweet, Johnny. Right to the point.
About
Right.
20 minutes worth.
That was definitely introvert of you. Yeah. No, but
I'm
I
pushing
appreciate the
myself
service,
out of the
and you know
envelope.
what? Honestly, with the journey you've had, the experience you've had, I give you the mic all day for sure. Because it really, I mean, even the comment section, so many people just relating to your background, your experiences, which I think is extremely important because a lot of people I think have a fear of the market, right? They have a fear of, I think what Stephen King said is like, I don't want to lose money, Johnny. I don't, hesitant. I don't want to lose money. I had the same thing. Like I really don't want to do something and lose money. And I think you get that fear. You get also the element of like, I don't get this. And it's all technical terms and candlesticks. And it's really a whole new language. And you're gonna have to put the effort into to learn that language to become successful, but anybody could do it. Um, Whether you have all day to sit in front of the computer, whether you have all day of or you have a full-time job and this is some kind of additional income for you, you can make this work. I just hosted the swing room where I can set up trades now and have them fill tomorrow. I don't have to be in front of the computer. Like the market could work for you in other ways that you don't maybe recognize that they would. But for me, I don't know. I'm an odd bird, I guess. I don't know. I always had some kind of interest in the markets. Like I remember my at least earliest awkward situation involving the markets. I was still in college. I was maybe so who's my roommate? My roommate was Dan. So I was probably a sophomore in college. And I used to watch CNBC way too much. Like I was just hooked. I just loved all about it. Even though I'm a broke college kid at that point, I'm like, this is just interesting to me. I just found it like amazing. And I think I remember there was a Saturday. It was definitely a Saturday because the markets are closed. So like CNBC runs like reruns and stuff like that. And I for some reason I was just yelling out like, I need the market back. I just was bored out of my roommate comes in. He's like, are you good? You want CNBC like that bad? I was like, yeah, in a weird way I do. I don't know. But I had like the little itch of the market. And then I think at 21, I was in a prop trading firm in Long Island. I'm from New York originally. I live in PA now. But it was a prop firm. It was about, and it was like however much money you bring, they give you like 10x in the market. So I think I put in like 5K of my own money. And you're in a room of a bunch of people. There's somebody kind of hosting, but like not really. There was like the professional trader. And as long as you showed up with money, you could trade the markets. But they didn't really give you education. They didn't give you any like technical basis. They didn't like they would just shout out a trade that they liked and you're like whether you want it or not. But there was no like real basis of education. It was just all self-learning and observing the charts. And what with prop firms, which is different than funded accounts, way different. With prop firms, like a funded account, you'll buy your account, you get the amount of money, you got to try to pass a certain level, and then you get funded. Prop accounts, if I'm getting 10x on my money, but I lose, let's say my first trade, I lose $500. The next day I show up and they're taking the 500 from you, and now you're sitting there with 45,000 of buying power. So that one trade costs you about $5,000 of buying power. So you have to be really, really good, really on point. And it's way different than what we do at RLT, where and that's where I fell in love with RLT. I was like, just going through some of and I would be trading options, I'd be making a ton of money and then give it all back. And it was the consistency profitable, like being consistently profitable in the market. It was like a term I've never really heard of or really understood. One of those two. And once I realized like you could know how much you're risking, you could have a system to how much you risk. That takes a heck of a lot of pressure off of how much you're trading, right? How that you don't have to be nailing every trade. You could be a good trader, you could be an okay trader, and still make money in the market. Just understanding the risk portion of things, which the other prop firm just never went over that. I did start to grasp like candles and start putting things together, but it was a full journey of just me discovering what I like in the market and okay, cool, there's a candlestick and this means this. Now I'm going to go in the market and just try it out. And okay, what if I add RSI to it? What if I add like the MACDs? and just kind of figuring out which approach. And then once I realized, and because RLT at that time wasn't even around, but once I realized what RLT was doing and the education platform and all the videos and free education, I was able to go through it. And now I'm like, okay, oh, I could piece it all together, and it just made more sense. So definitely helped out my trading for sure in terms of that. And then I've pretty much done, I think, almost every job possible where I was doing like inside sales. I was a financial advisor with Mass Mutual for a while. I was running an entertainment company. I mean, I started that when I was 16 and got me through college, and was on and off again, went full time. And then I went full, like after, because I was making good money doing it, but most of the events were weekends and I was free on the weekdays, and I got me back into trading again. And I was like, I need something to do kind of during the week. So I was able to start to hone the craft a little bit better there. And then I just got the kick in the butt from COVID, where all entertainment, all events, all everything was just canceled, closed. And I was like, you know what? That was the push I needed to really say, yeah, why don't I just do this full time? Right. So I still do events and stuff like that, and as a hobby at this point, more or less. But yeah, full time I'm trading the markets. That's where I'm making money. I love the RLT community, where I get the opportunity to sit with people who were that I was in their shoes a couple of years ago, right? And just kind of help them get over those humps, and help everyone try to get to that consistently profitable. Because again, if I could do it, Johnny could do it, Steve could do it. It is for everybody, but the educational system that we have, it makes it very tough. It makes it very frightening to trade the market. So, working as a team, I love it. Tim says, how often do you guys add to your positions when the price is moving in your favor? Yeah, let's get into some trading chat. And by the way, if at any point you guys have questions, let me know. I'm gonna throw this one to Stephen King. If your position, it looks like the question is, how often do you guys add to your positions when price is moving in your favor?
So, okay, are we talking day trading? I assume we're talking about day trading.
I would give it a go for swinger day.
Okay. Well, I'll start with day trading. So first of all, Tim, I've got a rule that says that in order for me to add to a position, okay, so everyone here, myself, Johnny, Dan, we track our, our R's, what we refer to as R's, right? So our risk unit, which is our risk unit is always the same, right? So we're always risking the same amount. And then based on our risk unit, then we calculate, okay, how many R's are we up for the week, for the month? So, I have a rule that says I have to be up X amount of R's before I can add to a position, right? Or if I'm down certain number of R's, I cannot add to a position at all. So it has to do with, anytime that you're talking about, when can I add, it all comes down to your plan, right? What does your plan say? So if I am, let's say it's early in the month, and let's say I've had, some losses, and I'm down 2R on the month, right? I'm negative and it's early on. I can't even add to a position at that point. All right. I need to be up. I think off the top of my head, I think my rule is I need to be up 5R on the month to be able then to start adding to positions. So that's for day trading. And the same carries over for my swing trading as well. So it's all rules based. And that is the one thing I just want to emphasize, that, the way to become consistently profitable, right? And the way to succeed in trading is, it all comes down to your plan. And one of my favorite sayings is that those who fail to plan to fail. So if you don't have a comprehensive, and I'm not just talking like a couple of rules, right? If you looked at my trading plan, I've got it's a page long, and it's very detailed, and it spells out everything I can and cannot do when I'm trading. So anyway, I don't know if that answered your question. Hopefully it did, but it's, and everyone's different, right? So Johnny and Danny have different rules that they follow, because we all have unique personalities. We all have our own risk tolerances. So our trading plans are going to be different, because my trading plan is going to reflect my personality and my risk tolerance. Johnny and Dan are going to have different plans.
Yeah. I know what Tim was talking about, and we get being a coach in the stock market. I get that question a lot because I see a lot of people on YouTube, especially when they're live trading, they're okay, it's working, let's add to the positions. There is no wrong way to trade. There's a wrong way to risk, right? If a lot of the guys that are doing that, they're in it for more scalps, where you're in it a lot quicker, you're out a lot sooner. If things go against you, you're not letting it go that far against you, but they have a certain, and this is my biggest problem. And again, my preference, but this is my biggest problem with a lot of the live YouTube traders, or the live Discord rooms or things like that. They're trading their account size, whether they're just, it might seem like they're picking arbitrary trades where they're saying, okay, I'm going to take 5,000 shares of this, and if we go up a little bit higher, I'm going to add 2,000 shares to a position. They have their account size. They've been doing it for a while. My biggest problem with that is once people come in that are not familiar with how they trade, they're saying, well, this guy just took 5,000 shares. I'm going to take 5,000 shares. Your account size might be very different. He's already got in his head that person, because they've been trading long enough. They know roughly, okay, it's about, I'm willing to risk 50 cents a dollar on the share price. So I know roughly I could take this many shares, right? But they're just going out there live, and a lot of people are just blindly following. It doesn't matter how I trade. It doesn't matter how Steven trades. It doesn't matter how Johnny trades. It matters. We could all take the same trades, have all different account sizes, still take the same trades. We might make a different amount of money on those trades, but we're risking the same R, which is the risk unit. So anytime we mention R, like Steven said, that just stands for the risk unit. That's all predetermined for us. If you add to a position on the way up, you could do it, but you'd have to bring your stop up with it, right? So that you're adding to that. You're looking for a big runner. It's got a lot of runway ahead of you. If you're bringing your stop up and you're able to calculate the same risk unit going in, so you're not overextending your account on one trade. So one trade shouldn't make up your entire month of trading. And that's like, if I hit this trade, good, I could pay my credit card bill. If not, I'll just have to get a job at TGI Fridays until I build up the account again. Like that shouldn't be the way to trade. So there is a style to it. I don't want to say it's the wrong style. It's just, that's not personally for me. I'm usually going, here's my entry, here's my stop. This is where I'm targeting. Is it going to go past my target? Most likely, right? But I'm okay. I don't have to make the full move on a trade to be a successful trader. I just need the little portion of that move. Johnny, for you being a trader, what was probably one of the biggest hurdles that you dealt with as you started trading? Just the kind of mentality of trading. What was something that you found was holding you back? That's something that you had to overcome, whether that you figured out yourself or somebody like Jeremy helped you kind of get over that hump.
I hate to lose. I, grew up as a jock, played sports all my life from the time I was 5 years old, became a United States Marine, where losing is not even in our vocabulary. And that was drilled into me for, how old was I? I was like maybe close to 50 when I started trading. So losing is something that takes a lot of effort. If you come from that kind of environment, and think about the environment that I came from, losing, I've never been used to losing. And I never heard, like we talk about today, that one of the best ways to learn is through failure, through losing. I remember so many times me and Jeremy would be trading, talking to one another. I'm talking about the 23, 24-year-old Jeremy, right? And we talk about just taking our computer and throwing it out our window down the hill because, we were so pissed off. So, let me tell you this story, because this story really helped me probably more than anything with that specifically. My wife, I'm a very emotional guy, if you can't tell. And, you know, I have these peaks and valleys with my emotions. And therefore, when I lose, it's a pretty ugly scene. And my wife, who, remember, got me into trading, who we still today trade together, saw this. And she one day said to me, she said, Johnny, you're pretty emotional. And I'm like, yeah, you know? And she said, well, you're also probably the most disciplined person that I ever met in my life. I'm like, well, go figure. I'm a Marine, right? Disciplined Marine. Yeah, got it, honey. What are you trying to tell me? She said, well, you know, discipline is like part of you. It doesn't come and go, but your emotions do this. So when you're trading, why don't you just think about and rely on your discipline instead of you're worrying about your emotions and getting pissed off and wanting to quit, et cetera, et cetera. So that struck me and hit me square in the face. And I was like, wow, is that what they've been talking about when they say develop a plan, put it in writing, like Stephen King said, and then follow that plan, be disciplined to that plan? And then, you know, I don't know. Did you guys see that video today? I forget who posted it. I'm sorry. I can go find it, but it was a professional tennis player, and he was talking about he won 80% of his matches, right? But he only won 52% of the points in those matches. And he said, you know, those points that they come and go. And if I worried about those points instead of worrying about the match, the outcome, then I wouldn't be here today. It's a great video. I think when you guys start talking, I'm going to go find it and post it because everybody here needs to listen to that. But that's my biggest challenge, losing. I still, you know, struggle with it today, but I've been able to get to a point where I understand. It's just another point, right? It may be a one fight that I lose, but I'm going to win the battle.
Yeah. You said something incredibly important. Um, I think most people, because the losing ratio, I forget what the statistic is, but the losing ratio of people day trading is high, right? But then you see people that do this full time. You see people that are just full-time day traders, right? And they're like, okay, they must be the 5% or the 10% or whatever the statistic is of who's successful. I've seen people just in trading in general. I've seen people in RLT. I've seen people in every trading organization where you have, it seems like there's successful traders, and then there's people that are just kind of floundering, right? And just they're trying to do it. The one thing I would say that kind of points to that success, at least from what I see, it's not so much about, I mean, the education is important, right? Obviously, having money to trade with helps, right? If you're coming in and you're trading a $5,000 account, it's hard to pay your bills, right? The more money you have, the easier it is to trade. But the one thing that the successful people in trading have that the people who aren't successful is that they never gave up, right? There's still always no matter how many times they got punched in the face, they got right back up, they got back on the horse, they were able to do it. So coming from that Marines background and the mentality of I just don't lose, I hate it. What made you not quit? What kept you in the game to wake up to see the next day? What was it about you that got you here? Because if you gave up, then you would not be a successful trader, right? You'd be like, nah, it didn't work for me.
Thank you for asking that, because I think that's super important. The reason why it's super important is because it starts with the dream. It sounds corny, but I'm telling you guys, if you don't have a dream, and that's like, why am I going to do this? Then it's going to be tough to get over those hurdles of losing. The dream, the why is what pushes you and what drives you. And I'm just lucky enough to, number one, have such a big dream that it scares me. And because I've put this down on paper and I need to achieve my dreams. And without trading, without being successful here, I doubt at my age that I'm going to be able to achieve those dreams. So if you don't have a dream, if you don't have a why, I would ask you to start thinking about that, because you have to have something that's going to drive you to a place of being uncomfortable. And to answer your question specifically, Danny, I, I'm not bragging, I'm not patting myself on the back, but when it comes to achieving something, my determination and my resilience, which are two critical, important characteristics of somebody who is going to be able to survive adversity, those are probably my strongest characteristics. And when I am determined to do something, yeah, I'm going to get pissed off and when I lose and I'm not successful, but that's actually an advantage because that pushes me to a point where I need to be resilient because I know it's going to happen. And if I'm not resilient, if I wasn't resilient, I wouldn't be able to get over those losses. And that resiliency, that determination, those are all come after you have a big dream, because without that big dream, nothing else really matters.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people look at, so let's go, Jeremy is an example, right? Like, hey, he's successful trading, he's got all the money, therefore trading's easier, right? Look, if I had his account, I could do that too, right? And a lot of people, they don't they don't get credit for the work that goes into it prior, right? And I think every single person in the chat, every single person in YouTube, no matter where you are financially, no matter what age you are, no matter what religion you are, what experience and background and education that you have, none of it matters in the stock market, right? None of it matters almost for anything that you do in life, right? But having that resiliency, if you have that why, like Johnny talked about, and you have the resiliency to get there at no cost, then eventually you get to that spot, right? And then somebody else looks at you and going, man, how did that person that if I had that person's life, I could do XYZ. And a lot of times it's the journey to get there, which isn't always the easiest. It's not always the following the golden path and the golden road. There's a lot of bumps and hills and valleys, like Johnny said, to get to that spot, right? So a lot of it is, if it's something that you want to do, if you're, all the stock market is just a tool. That's it. You could love the stock market, you hate the stock market, you could love the news, you hate the news, the politics that affect the markets, the Jerome Powell days when he comes out and talks, the bond rate, all of it is just noise. It's just that helps with the knowing how to use the tool. That's it. The the money that comes from the market, like if your why is like, hey, I just want to make $1 million, so I'm going to trade the stock market, it's probably not a good enough why, right? Why do you need $1 million? Why not 100,000? Why not $1 billion?
Yeah.
Like, what is that money going to do for you? Where's that going to place you? And then I strongly suggest that's the dream, and then you're just using the stock market to get to that dream, right? And if you look at it like that, it helps. At least it helps me put myself on that same path of resiliency, because it's something that I wanted to do. It's something that I wanted to achieve.
Yeah.
Stephen King,
Can I
you
just
said
throw
something.
something in before
Yeah,
you go
yeah,
to
of
Steve,
course.
just to make sure that people, because I know you and I have talked about this a lot, but that money is the tool, guys. The dream, the why isn't the money, right? It's what money can do for you. It's using money as a tool to achieve your dreams. So make sure you understand that. Don't leave this webinar and say, well, my dream is to make $1 million a year. No, you better sit down and have a talk with yourself and determine like what you want to do with that money. And that needs to be your dream. And it needs to be so big, it needs to scare you. It needs to be like, I ain't gonna do this if I don't get into trading, and trading is just one income stream, right? It's going to create a situation for you where you're going to be able to do other things and create other income streams. So don't think that trading is just the end of everything. It's just the beginning, but it's a mechanism that can propel your life and achieve those dreams. Because I can tell you, just after 40 plus years of being in business and doing a lot of things, there's not many things that compare to being able to sit at your desk, push buttons for whatever amount of time a day that you want to, and then be able to spend the rest of the day doing whatever you want. So just remember those things.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, 100%. And Jeff has a good question. I'm going to get to that one in a second, Jeff, but I do want to ask Stephen King, because he, in his opening statement, he did say he was kind of in between, I guess, careers and trying to get back into the workforce. And I don't think that you were completely truthful in saying that you were probably too old to get back into the workforce.
Oh, I was definitely too old.
You're 30 now, so I mean, I don't know where that puts you, but at that certain point, so again, I don't think that was probably the case, but at least you felt like that was the case, right?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, the reality is also, after being out on my own, having left the corporate world and then being an entrepreneur and having my own business, like I could never even imagine going back to work for somebody else. Right.
I agree.
So,
but I would also follow that up with there was still a journey for you to learn the stock market. There's education involved.
100%.
So why take the leap? Why would you rather take the educational to relearn a whole new thing, understand the stock market? Why would you it's a lot easier just to get that job for somebody else. Why would you even pick option number 2?
Well, I mean, I already touched on a big part of it, which is freedom, right? So yeah, I mean, it's also desire. I mean, it's, what is it that you want to do? Like, again, for me, working for somebody else was never my idea of living, right? I did it, but I did it really more out of necessity, coming out of college, not having money, but needing to be able at some point to bankroll, my own business, which is basically what I used the corporate world for. But when Johnny touched on a big part of it, I think, which was when I was faced with this decision on, okay, what do I do? I've lost my business. And by the way, in the process, I didn't mention this. In the process, I lost the majority of my life savings with it, because for 5 years between 2010 and 2015, I was dipping into my own savings, my own money to keep the business afloat. And my overhead at the time was about 15 grand a month. So think about 15 grand a month, to cover overhead, and that adds up pretty quickly. So, and the idea, when I was in that moment where I was throwing good money after bad, the business had been through downturns previously. So I just figured this is just another one of those downturns. It'll come back. And I just kept waiting for that, for it to bounce back, and it never happened. So, in hindsight, I should have cut my losses long before I did, but nobody has a crystal ball and nobody can foresee the future. So anyway, when I had to, when I was faced with this decision on, okay, what do I do now? I was in my 50s. It's Johnny and I have such similar stories. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, we also share the same birthday. So I feel like we're actually twins separated at birth, because we, even though he's much older than I am, but we,
Like 3 minutes, right?
but we do have such similar stories. So, in my 50s, and then I'm going, okay, I have to reinvent myself. What am I going to do? I didn't feel that I was marketable. I didn't feel that I was hireable in a corporate world. And not even that I wanted to go that route. But when I started looking at what my options were, well, trading is something that you can just do immediately. Yes, there's a learning curve, and a very, steep learning curve, but it's something that you can start doing right away. And you can do it with very little capital. There's ways to do it with little capital up front. To Johnny's point, no employees, right? You are starting your own business. I mean, anybody who pursues trading, and whether you're pursuing it for a living or on the side, or just to make some extra money, it's still a business, and you need to approach it that way. So that was like for me when and I believe me, I looked at a lot of different possibilities, right? There were many options out there, but I always had an interest in the markets. I was fascinated with the concept. And once I got into it, it was like I was hooked. Like, and so that was, I mean, for me to, start uh, a new career, for lack of a better, you know, word. I mean, that's basically what it was, starting a new career. Like, I've got a friend who's about my age, might be a little older. He just graduated with his from law school, and talk about like putting in the time. So he's been, I want to say he was in I don't know if it was a 2 or 3 year program, but he just graduated. It's like, okay, do I want to put in 2 to 3 years to get a law degree and then have to then go get a job somewhere, starting as, you know, not even as you might be more of an assistant than, an actual attorney, right? You're going to be starting at the bottom and then it's going to take years to work up. Or would I rather just take that time and invest it in my own education, learn how to trade, and I'm going to accelerate that curve? That was kind of my thought.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. I don't, Jeremy has said this before, and I love the statement where it is probably at that stage in your life, just transferring, it comes down to you have to reinvent yourself. You could spin the wheel and maybe it picks up, and who knows what happens at that point. But it is hard to do, whether it is to get another job and work for something else. It's hard to try to say, okay, I'm going to try to swing it and start a different business. It's hard to say, okay, I'm going to be a day trader. I'm going to swing trade. I'm going to look at the markets. And I have to learn a whole bunch of new stuff that I'm just not familiar with. This is not my background. And it's a lot harder to not do any of that, right? It's difficult to do it once you start getting your feet wet. The results start to come in, you start to understand it. There is going to be a learning curve, whether it's trading, whether it's your friend who's an attorney going through it from day one, sitting first day of class going, man, is this the right decision for me? Right. But doing that hard step pays off in dividends. And I do want to go to Jeff's question. So Jeff's asking, so if I go to scroll back, very, very, very important question. Uh, I think it came down to I'm missing a question now.
About how much money that we've spent building our
Here we
trading
go. Yep.
business.
Yeah, Jeff's asking, each of you took multiple years to get profitable. How much do you all think it cost over that time? Just going back to what I said with Stephen King, I think it would have cost me more not to take the journey, right? So I don't have a number for dollars and cents of what I've spent on education, what I've taken in losses, I mean, I started the prop firm with $5,000. That's why I know it's like that's why I started. That was everything I had at that point. I just got out of college. Right. I was like, I threw my whole savings into it at that point, starting fresh. I was like, okay, let me give this a go. I lost probably most of it. I think I blew up another account since then. But I've always started all my accounts small and just built it up over time. And then once I started understanding it, it could cost an extremely a lot, or not that much at all, based on the choices that you make. Right? If you're coming in and you're getting the proper education, you're taking some mentor groups, you're working with a team, you could speed up that learning curve. You could paper trade. That wasn't even an option when I started trading. Uh, but you could paper trade, and a lot of these platforms have very good now, especially paper trading platforms where you could sit there, trade the market, trade your plan, build out your plan, and not be risking any money, but you can see how many R's you're making. What's your consistent R, right? Okay, well, I'm starting to make money in the market. Now let's throw some real money in. That's the way I probably should have did it. I wish I was me back then, right? I think people say that all the time. But it would have cost me more in my life probably money wise, but definitely time wise to not take the journey, as opposed to me sacrificing the time that I did to learn the markets, putting in the money, taking the classes that I did. What would you say to that, Johnny?
You know, it just depends on, it just depends on what you want out of trading, because trading can be just a hobby if you want, or it can be a business and somewhere in between. And let's just go to the extreme of it being a business. I mean, I don't know you guys if you're experiencing in getting into business, but I know Steven's business cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Um, our business, our trading business for us is no different from a doctor or a lawyer or any other professional that is using that business to achieve their dreams. And that takes a lot of money. It takes an investment. One of my favorite sayings is invest in yourself. Because if you're not investing in yourself, then, what the heck are you doing with your money? If you want to compound your money, and you believe in yourself and your God-given abilities, then I think you can turn whatever investments that you put into anything and turn that into a successful venture. But all I know is that I will never regret one penny that I put into my business, my trading business, or one penny that I lost, because now that I have a bigger open view about losing, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today if I didn't lose money in the beginning, right? And so that money, every time I lose, here's another thing that my wife tells me. She's unbelievably awesome. She said, because I'd be ranting and raving when I lose, and she said, Johnny, just that's part of your educational expenses. That's all that is. And so, I think my wife and we spent probably in the range of maybe close to $20,000 just last year on personal growth. Because even at 64 years old, I want to continue to grow. My goal is to learn something new every day. And without spending money to do so, I wouldn't be here today. So I'm not saying you have to go out and spend $20,000 in personal growth every year, but if you're not growing, you're doing the opposite. And I think the opposite of growing is dying, and I don't want to die. So whatever assets I have available, they're going to go towards me becoming a smarter, bigger, better person. And I'm going to leverage that and turn it into a dream making machine.
Yep.
Hey, real quick, I want to add something because Johnny touched on something which played into my decision for pursuing trading. And I think that this is something that, when I do give my presentations on becoming a consistently profitable trader, one of the characteristics of people who do become consistently profitable is that they're lifelong learners. So to Johnny's point, they want to learn something new every day. I love a challenge and I love to learn new stuff. So that definitely played into my decision to pursue trading back in 2015 as well, because it was like, okay, I know nothing about it, but I'm going to soak it up like a sponge. I'm going to learn as much as I can, and I'm going to apply myself. And in terms of the cost, one of the things that you have to realize is that if you go study at college, what are you going to spend? What are you going to, I don't know, 150, 200, 300? I don't, my daughter still has 4 years before she goes to college, so I don't really have the perspective on what it's going to cost. But
This isn't rhetorical. You're actually asking us. You gotta
right.
you
So,
gotta
but
get those
anyway,
funds together. Yeah.
but the point is, you're going to spend quite a bit of money, going to college. Or let's just say, forget it. Let's say you're like us and you're already done with college. But let's say you want to learn something, you're going to go back to and take, continuing ed courses. That's going to cost you. No matter what you pursue, it's going to cost money. Now, the one thing I will say, and one of the things that I like to work with and help people on is spending that money wisely, because I didn't. When I first started trading, I blew and wasted so much money on useless crap. Indicators I thought that were going to give me an edge, courses that, buying online courses that I thought were going to help to, teach me to trade. The reality is, if I had it to do all over again, I would save all that money that I wasted on those indicators and those online video courses and all that. And I would sink it into working with an individual who can teach me how to trade. So whether that's in a group setting like what we do, or we also do individual, but whatever that is, and I'm not, saying this as a sales pitch for the three of us, but in general, your best approach to learning to trade is to work with somebody, not spending a lot of money on online courses.
Yeah, my favorite book ever, and I'm gonna butcher the quotes and stuff, but my favorite book ever is The Richest Man in Babylon, right? And there's a part in that book where he's the guy who's trying to understand like how to make money and really understanding wealth and what to do with it. And so he makes his first bunch of money, and then his somebody he works with has like a, hey, I got this other business idea. It's about something that this guy has no experience doing and nothing. So he goes, okay, yeah, that sounds good, and he gives him all his money, right? And of course, the guy has no experience in what he was asking for the money. He lost everything. He went back and goes, what happened? And his advisor told him, well, don't you just gave your money to somebody that has no experience and hasn't done it himself, right? So be always just be cautious, like make sure it's somebody that has a track record, somebody that's been in the market, somebody that trades the markets. I see on Facebook all the time, like, oh, this stock is going to be great. I'm in a bunch of the Facebook, which drives me crazy, but I'm in a bunch of like the investing Facebook groups, and it's just like a lot of the blind leading the blind, and like, what stock should I pick? And people just throwing out random things. I'm like, oh, it's rough. But these make sure, like following, like you said, follow somebody that knows what they're doing, follow somebody that's done it themselves, somebody that's been through a similar situation that you have, and that's going to get you the best return for your money. So I love that. There was one other question, and we'll go into something else, but we do have we'll go into kind of an announcement and a little direction change. But we got VD was saying he's got a his why he's moving to at the end of this year into he's going to New Zealand, which I love. And then you're kind of asking what do you think the tax implications are of trading? And I think, well, number one, I'm sure New Zealand has taxes. I couldn't tell you what they are. I barely could tell you what my taxes are. I just, for me, I send it to the accountant and let them deal with the headache. Um, there's going to be taxes, most likely just about everything you do, no matter how much money you make. There's always some kind of taxes. So if you're going to New Zealand, you're going to have to consult somebody in New Zealand about their tax rules and laws and policies and things like that. The other thing, which I just said, is no matter what you do, you're going to have to pay taxes. It's what they say, the only certainty in life is taxes and death. So there's going to be taxes. The best way to hurdle it, just make more money, typically, right? And you could, what I like about trading is you could scale up. Whether it's me back at 22, starting with $5,000 in the market and just trying to figure out life, to where I'm at now, you could scale up. And we went back to the R system and the risk system. Me, Stephen King, Johnny, every one of you guys in the chat, every one of you guys on YouTube, we could take the same exact trade. The results and how much money we're going to make is going to be completely different because it's where we are on our journey to our why, to our destination, right? So we could all fundamentally take the same trade, but make different amounts of money. And that the amount of money is meaningless, but the longer you do it, the more you progress in the market, the more money you'll have, the bigger the trade you can get, the more taxes you're going to get. Taxes aren't a bad thing. I know people hate taxes, but it's not a bad thing. You're going to get those taxes. So, but I would say consult with whoever's in New Zealand that you can find that is familiar with kind of the tax laws, and no matter where you are, there's always going to be some kind of taxes that you unfortunately have to pay, as much as we don't want to. But the other thing, so we've been talking a lot about education. We've been talking a lot about kind of our journeys, our path. As coaches and moderators, we want to try to figure out the best way to help each and every one of you guys get to your why, help you get to your destination. So myself, Stephen King, Johnny, we sat around, we said, okay, well, we got obviously a lot of free content on real life trading, free videos, free we have mentorship groups, we have things like that. But what is the best way for us to really help individual traders with their trading, with their journey, with their trading plans? And the one thing I think we looked at is there's a lot of information all over the internet. There's a lot of information all over reallifetrading.com. You can go to YouTube, type in pretty much any question, put real life trading, and there's a topic about it. But if you're not building upon your journey, if you just go to expert level and start consuming that content, you don't have the fundamentals to execute a lot of those correctly, right? So what we put together kind of a more systematic plan to take a trader from step one. I'm brand new to the market. I'm looking at the charts for the very first time. I don't know where to start. I don't know where to begin to that retirement level, right? And everything in between. So we have individual courses. It's more mentorship group courses. So you get a little extra hands-on as opposed to just watching a video on YouTube or watching a video on real life trading. But Steven, and we'll pull up let me do a screen share as well. And Steven's going to be handling a lot of the beginner classes, the beginner education. So we have this coming out. So his course is the Learn to Trade in 20 Hours. Tell us a little bit about what your goal is of the class, who's the right fit for the group, for the event, and go from there.
All right, cool. So first of all, I just want to touch a little bit more on what Dan was saying. So we looked at everything, all of our offerings within real life trading. And we realized that, there were just like these pockets, right? We had stuff that people could learn, but we didn't really have a clear path from I know nothing about trading to I'm now planning for retirement, and then everything in between, right? And that really is the complete trading journey, right? So learning how to trade, first step, then taking it to the next level, becoming consistently profitable, learning advanced strategies, being able to be proficient in your trading, and then eventually planning for retirement. And then we are launching I'm just gonna mention this first, we are launching a new program called, and I think Nang was asking about this, but anyway, it's called Accelerate Your Retirement. And so it is a new program, a new course that we are announcing. We've already started promoting it, but it is there's certain criteria for you to be involved in that course. But anyway, it's all about just taking control of your own retirement account and firing your financial advisor and taking control and managing it yourself. And sounds scary, right? But the fact of the matter is, just as a side note, I just fired my financial advisor. So for the longest time, I've had my 401k with a financial advisor, separate from everything else I do. I don't know why, but he's gone, and now I'm going to be self-managing that account. Anyway, that's the Accelerate Your Retirement. But what we're here to talk about is the other programs that we've developed that fill in from the beginning, I know nothing, to retirement. And so that's what the three of us are doing. So my beginner, okay, so we used to have a program called Learn to Trade in 90 Days Masterclass. That has gone away. What I'm doing now is I am teaching new traders, people who have never traded before, who want to learn how to trade. And I am taking a concept that is from this book. So I don't know if anybody's familiar with this book. Okay. So this book is called The First 20 Hours. Okay. And there's a theory out there that that if you want to become an expert in any field, it requires 10,000 hours. to become an expert. Now we're talking world-class athletes. We're talking, you know, symphony orchestra, people, like really the highest echelon of people in their field, 10,000 hours. Well, when 2015 started, I didn't have 10,000 hours. I didn't have 10,000 hours to invest to become a professional trader. This book, which I have used as the kind of the outline and the backbone for this course, is you can learn a new skill and you can become proficient in that skill in 20 hours. And it's a way of breaking down. So what I've done is I've taken the concepts from this book and I have taken the learn how to trade concept. I've broken it down into simple to understand concepts, and then putting together a roadmap, a plan that requires. So I'm going to be meeting with people with my group twice a week. So it's going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's going to be for an hour and a half on those days. But here's the key to it. Where the 20 hours comes in, it's a 4-week course. Okay. So where the 20 hours comes in is that's the 20 hours you're going to invest on your own based on, for lack of a better word, homework that I'm going to give you. So I'm going to teach the concepts live in that, in the 2 classes per week, again, each one being an hour and a half, but the 20 hours is your own self-study focused on, Josh Kaufman. Yeah, Scott's got it. So focused on your own self-directed study, but following the outline and the plan that I'm going to give you and the content that I'm going to give you. So that's where the whole concept of learn to trade in 20 hours comes in, because in 4 weeks, I'm going to have you from knowing nothing to trading, to actually taking trades. And I'm going to teach you everything you need to know. And we're going to do it in 20 hours.
Love it. Yeah. So if you're brand new to the market, you got that little fear we talked about, you're just like, I would love to be a full-time trader. I would love to have the additional income. I would love to really understand the markets. We have the beginner course. You could determine where you're at too on things based on your own trading experience. If you have no idea where you're at or where you'd be a good fit, you could always email us, Johnny at reallifetrading.com, Steven at reallifetrading.com, Dan at reallifetrading.com. Best way to reach us. This would be for the beginners getting the full kind of understanding of the market, and like Steven said, really getting the grasp. The next course that we have, the second one after this, because again, we're trying to progress from somebody brand new to somebody to hit the retirement, right? And everything in between. So this is and I'll give full credit to Johnny. It was his idea when I was like, I think Johnny's a secret genius. I'm not sure, but he calls me one day. He goes, "Yeah, we all have our own classes and groups, and one thing that we've never done at real life trading before is like did a group together. Like why have we not done this? We've already done our first one, which was phenomenal. We had the people, which some of you guys might be in this room already, but the feedback was incredible. Like they learned a lot who went through it. And the idea of this course is to get to the next step. So from Steven's course of, okay, now I understand the markets. What are some advanced strategies? What are some things that we're going to really be diving into? And we're going to go heavier into different things that obviously you just can't cover into the first group. Plus, we have the element of now applying that into the real market, right? So you can watch as many videos as you want. As soon as that bell goes ding, 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 ding in the morning and the panic comes in and you're profusely sweating and you're like, what do I do? And you're just we'll teach you how to actually implement what we learn live into the markets, right? So Johnny, do you want to tell us a little bit more about the group that we're doing?
Sure. It's the next 20 hours, right? After Steven.
Yeah. So the math is correct. We're at 40. Yep.
Yeah, this is the 40-hour plan. Man, I wish that we had something like this when I first started trading. I mean, all 3 of us here, because this is ever since, I've been with Jeremy, I'm like, man, we got to lay out this progression of, what a trader needs to know and what the trader needs to go through in order to be successful. And just a little plug for Steven's course. I can tell you, man, the guy is a phenomenal trader, but he is an even better teacher, I think. And he's put in his years of experience into this course, because this course will just cover those people, those beginners who like don't have a clue, don't know what a chart is, and they want to get to a point where they're trading. So kudos for Stephen for putting this together. I think it's a great course. Me and Danny's course is because we all collaborated on this, and we wanted to put a programmatic approach to stock trading education. Is okay, what's the next step? Because the biggest thing for anybody in this room, if you want to learn how to trade, you either got to be a technical analyst or a fundamental analyst, and or both together. And if you want to be a technical analyst, you have to start with Steven and build those required skills that will give you that foundation to then become profitable. Danny and I have put together this course that is going to take people that already know what a chart is, already know what a trend is, already know what, trade management things are, et cetera, the risks that Stephen talked about before, already knows all those things, but we're going to put it all together, wrap it up in a nice package. Danny's going to be teaching at nighttime in classroom. I'm going to be up early morning with everybody live on the market. So we're going to be covering day trading and swing trading. But guys, this is literally like 12 years of experience put together. I'm just talking about 12 years of like Jeremy Newsom and now real life trading, but 12 years of putting together a step-by-step programmatic approach to getting successful and being consistent. So I'm excited about it. Danny and I, we're different type of traders. We have different risk tolerances. So we're gonna be able to use and leverage that to apply it to our students, because everybody comes in differently, right? Everybody comes in different level of education and understanding. But because, I have specialized in beginner traders and now want to turn that focus to getting people consistently profitable, we are going to focus on that with me and Danny. And it's going to be a wham bam. Hey, you guys are going to have some unbelievable lessons that we're going to present to you guys, and we're going to wrap that up and package it together and put a plan together with you guys. And by the time that you get done with our course, you're going to have every tool and everything that you need to move out and be a consistent, profitable trader. So I'm really super excited about it, because this is now where I think real life trading needed to get. And then you get this, and then you start working towards that retirement, accelerate your way to retirement. Guys, come on. I wish, I only wish, we had this when I started trading.
Yeah, I was on the arcade. I remember going to the library and looking at trading books and like trying to understand candles that way. Like that's it's crazy how technology's come, and then the same thing. If I had, of course, something like this, something like Steven, something that just put it all together, saved me hours of time, months of time collectively, saved me tons and tons of money in the markets. It's like, yeah, it's incredible. But our group is starting um July 15th. So mid-July is our first date. Just so you guys know how that works. It's going to be, for me, it's 8 p.m. Eastern. So if you're here now, you're probably free for it. But 8 p.m. Eastern, both on Mondays and Wednesdays, starting on the 15th, goes to August 8th. So halfway through. And then the day after the classes that I'm teaching, you guys are going to take that information with Johnny during the live market starting at 12 noon Eastern. And that's going to be implemented now to really say, okay, I've learned this. I've got this concept. I got this set up. how do we apply it? What do we do when the market's live? How do we actually do it? So this way everyone's a little more comfortable with actually trading and implementing, as opposed to like, well, they talked about this, but is that really this? And you just get that kind of hands-on approach to the markets as well. So we have that for you guys. There was one thing, and this is Johnny's fault. This is completely Johnny's fault, but he was live with me on YouTube. This is Tuesday, I think it was, of this week.
Yeah.
And I think we got off of YouTube and we're just in the live room together, just going back and forth. And Johnny goes, "Yeah, you know what we should do is we offer free things." And I'm like, "All right." So then we had to talk about it because now it's out there. So then we came up with Steven, myself, and Johnny. And since it's June, we're gonna go with the number 6. So for the first 6 people that sign up per class, so 6 for King's class and 6 for Johnny and mine. The first 6 people that sign up within the next 6 days gets a additional one-on-one coaching with one of the mentors. So you can choose either myself or Johnny to work hands-on specifically with you. It's about an hour session. And then if you're in Stephen King's as well, you get the hour session there. So you get a free one-on-one if you're the one of the first 6 people to sign up for either of the classes. And that's a $500 value. So if you just wanted to do it solo, we do offer the one-on-ones. You go to the website, they're $500 for the one-on-one sessions, but we're throwing that in for free for you guys too. So if whoever's the first 6 will get that. And I don't know how we track that. I guess we'll see with Arabia.
I talked
Probably.
to Emily about that. But guys, man, you know, the awesome thing about that is specifically when you get to sit down with one of us, we're going to address your needs because everybody is different. Somebody mentioned it in the chat. Everybody's got a different lifestyle. You know, some people can day trade, some people can only swing trade, some people are risk tolerant, other people are not. So this gives you guys the opportunity to sit with us and specifically design a program for you, just depending on who you are. So it's a great opportunity. The other thing that I just wanted to butt in, sorry, Danny, was Scott said this is probably the only group company that wants us to succeed. I can tell you that if you are on the staff of Real Life Trading and you have to have this within your character that, you know, we're here to help people. If you're not a helping type of person, then you're not going to be part of the staff at Real Life Trading. But for me, when I take on a person, especially when I take their money to for them to learn what I know and what I've done over the last 12 years, when I take somebody's dollar, I mean, I feel like it's a huge responsibility of myself to help that person succeed. I mean, I can't tell you, I'm not just saying this, but it weighs heavily on my soul. So I think everybody, I know Stephen and Danny are exactly that way because we all are similar as far as being able to enrich people's lives and help people. And I can tell you, you know, you're hearing it from me, but you're in the hands of people that do want to see you succeed because I don't know if you've ever helped anybody and seen the results of you helping somebody, but it's one of my favorite things to do. And I love my biggest reward is not the monetary part of getting paid to be a coach, but my huge thing is being able to look at a trader and saying, man, I helped them get to a point where they are today. So I just want you guys to know we take that serious. And especially when you're going to pay good money to be part of our programs, you're going to get the best out of all of us, promise.
Got you. Yeah. Emily says somebody's already in the consistently profitable trading program. Awesome. Emily, if I guess you're the one that can keep track. Just let us know who the so we got 5 more people in that one.
Wow.
And then 6 on the other. If you could just let us know, just so we know who to give the free bonus to as well. But we'll pretty much wrap it up here. Stephen King, though, I do want final last words from everybody. What's some advice you'd have for a new or struggling trader, that as short as possible? What's the one piece of advice you would give to him?
I'll answer it this way. I'll say the thing that turned my trading around was learning, being exposed to the R system. That was I think that is one of the most critical things. If you're new to trading and you're not familiar with what I'm talking about using the R system, that is that one single thing turned my trading around, because prior to that, I had no concept of when I was putting together an order, there was no consistency in terms of the size of the order, right? The share size. One trade I might do 100 shares. Another trade I might do 50. Another one I might do 500 shares. Like, my share size was all over the place, and as a result, therefore, my losses were all over the place. So I could lose $100 on one trade. I could lose 900 on another trade. I could lose, 500. I could lose 50. Like, it was all over the place. The one thing that will prevent that from happening is implementing the R system. Because with the R system, you know exactly what your loss is going to be every single trade.
I love it. Johnny, what would you say?
Um, you know, I wish you guys knew Danny and Steven and myself, because um, we have your best interests in our hands. You know, if you join us, we'll definitely take care of you, and it's a big responsibility, like I say, on our shoulders to help you guys not have to go through all the crap that we went through, right? You now in front of you have the progression to take that and be successful. And on top of that, we really haven't even talked about the community of real life trading, but that is a powerful tool to be part of, guys. You have everybody in our community looking out for everybody's best interest. And just to be part of this is just a huge thing that you should be leveraging. So, I mean, just to end this, guys, you have a gift that is now given to you, as far as, hey, here's the progression, guys. This is what you got to do, and you got to get to this point where you're able to absorb this information and put it together, and we're going to be there for you to give you all of our secrets and tell you, what we're doing to be professionals in the trading community. And we just want you guys to be successful, man. Like I say, our greatest joy will be to see you guys, making all kinds of money. And I just want to be part of that, man. I'm from a selfish perspective. I just want to be there to give you all the things that I look at and teach you all the things that I have learned over the years, because for me, there's not going to be any greater gift for me than that. So hope you guys join us. It's been great talking to you. If for whatever reason, like Danny said, you guys want to contact us or me, whatever, please do. We can Zoom, we can talk via email, text, whatever you want to do. But I hope you guys join us.
Love it, Johnny.
Aloha.
And final last words from me. First of all, I appreciate each and every one of you guys, whether it's in the chat, whether it's in YouTube, for joining us. I know we've been going on for about an hour, 35 minutes now. So huge majority, I'm impressed how long you guys are staying on with us. I want to be respectful of your times, and so we'll cut it short. But I'm going to end with a proverb for me, which is one of my favorite lines, which is: the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. Second best time is today, right now. So if you have forget about the stock market, maybe that's not the tool for you. It's possible. It might not be for everybody. But if you have your why, if you have your goal, you have your destination, this is where I want to be in life. It doesn't matter where you are financially. It doesn't matter where you are age-wise, or where you live, or what country you're in. You could have started before, right? That would have been great if you did. I know for me that the luxury is not always there for what I want to do, but starting today, if the best you could do, and you're like, hey, I don't want to trade at all, get the long-term portfolio, add to it every month, build that up, create wealth for yourself. That will be one of the biggest things that you guys can do in life to help to achieve your goals and get to the place that you want to be at. So I want to leave you guys with there. otherwise, you guys are incredible. I appreciate you guys again. Also, Johnny, thanks for joining. Steven, thanks for joining. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you guys. And for anyone in the day trade room tomorrow, I'll see you guys there. Be easy, guys. Later.
Aloha.